Welcome to Ravenrock.
Todd Howard's lucid fever dream called Skyrim is truly a video game of all time. You can play the game however you want, with some choosing to be a quiet mage living a quiet life, or others choosing to be a terrorist. I decided to play through Skyrim as Death, destroyer of worlds, and absolutely and utterly abuse the magic system in Skyrim. The goal of this playthrough was simple, to obliterate any and all who opposed me and terrorize the frigid lands of the north. Up until this point, I had not the foggiest idea of how I was to go about this. The original idea was to beat Skyrim as a group, but that video has already been done by somebody else. I'm coming for you, Nerbit. Character creation went swimmingly. I mean, look at this beautiful critter. I chose a high elf due to their massive magic benefits and sat there for a few minutes trying to decide on what curse I wanted to cast on this creature in the form of a name. Then it hit me. I went to illegalbabynames.com and picked a name that caught my eye. This abominable monstrosity was going to carry the name of Chief Maximus. The intro did intro things, and then Chief Maximus got saved by the big Todd in the sky. I ran past the destroyed buildings of Helgen, wondering if all this death and destruction was a symbol for how this playthrough was going to go. Siding with Hadvar is the most sane thing a player can do, which is unbecoming of our hero, Chief Maximus. I grabbed a bucket in case I was going to perform a domestic terrorist attack on my own people, and then end the lives of the worthless stormcloaks. Picking up some potions, our hero loots the corpse of a fellow mage and escapes into the world. Little did the people of Skyrim know that their greatest worry wasn't the return of the dragons. Oh no. It was Chief Maximus. I didn't mention this earlier, but Chief Maximus needed some coin for a funny prank he was going to pull, so he looted as much gear as he could carry from the keep and then sold it to this unsuspecting trader who was unknowingly a pawn in the chess game that was Maximus's grand plan. Making it into Whiterun is as easy as ever, and our hero heads straight on over to the court mage where he can buy a spell that would make him the greatest conjurer in 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲. The Soul Trap spell is by far the buggiest spell ever in any Elder Scrolls game. In Morrowind, if used right, it can grant you immortality and turn your character into a literal nuclear bomb. In Skyrim, it can be cast on any dead human or animal with a soul, and count as a soul trap, meaning it levels up conjuration. I sat there grinding conjuration for 30 minutes, just standing there unmoving. Only once every hour did our hero show any signs of life. Concerned citizens sat and stared at him for hours, wondering when the mysterious man who was toying with the cadaver of the steer would even so much as move. I should note that at this point I was still planning on beating Skyrim as a group, and the best way to do that was to get conjuration to level 100, and have the Twin Souls perk where you can summon 2 Atronachs at once. And coupled with the permanent Atronach spells, this was probably the best way to go about this challenge. I spoke to the idiot who wouldn't let me pass the gates of the College of Winterhold and threw a fireball at her feet as a form of dominance. She let me in. She was too terrified to trifle with the one and only Chief Maximus. The reason we're in the college is to purchase the permanent Atronach spells from Finis Gester, but the only way to do that was to complete a quest he had in store for us. For the quest, our hero had to retrieve a sigil stone, and the only way to do that was to beat a Daedra into submission. The Daedra, just like the Gatekeeper, couldn't handle the unbridled wrath of our hero and gave us the stone. Showing the stone to Finis completes the quest and allows us to buy the permanent Atronach spells. Upon completing the quest, you also get a permanent Flame Atronach spell. I didn't have enough magicka to cast it yet, so I set my mind on bigger tasks. Beating Skyrim as a group is still the main focus in my mind, so I went back to Riverwood to recruit Sven to be my companion. At Riverwood, the Dawnguard orc asked me for help with the vampire threat, to which I said no to. I was eventually going to go to Fort Dawnguard for later purposes, however. I found Sven in the inn and ruined Fandle's life. With Sven now as my loyal follower, I head on over to Fort Dawnguard to recruit one of the Huskies. Unfortunately, you need to complete a few Dawnguard quests to actually be able to recruit a Husky, so I decided to find a non-human follower elsewhere. I didn't have enough money for a car ride to Falkreath, but fortunately the Khajiit caravan outside of Whiterun were there, so I was able to procure enough money from selling a garnet to purchase a one-way ticket to Falkreath. The reason Falkreath was my next destination was because of Barbas. My level was high enough from all the conjuration grinding that I was able to start the 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬 quest, and have Barbas as my companion. I head on over to the blacksmith to initiate the quest, and head on over to the quest marker to meet up with Barbas. I have to follow Barbas and clear out the vampires near the shrine of 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬 to be able to recruit Barbas to be a follower. Barbas, Sven, and the chief all headed over to the shrine of 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬 and cleared out all the vampires residing there. Little fun fact. If a book costs 50 gold or more, then it is a skill book. Talking to 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬 allows Barbas to be our follower until we finish the quest, which we are not going to do. The next thing on the agenda was to get enough money to purchase the 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬 spell, which allows us to summon a permanent frost atronach. The only way to get a large amount of gold in a short amount of time is in Dawnstar. On the way to Dawnstar, we came across the one and only Santa Claus. In this quiet, quaint village, underneath the fabric of reality, Todd Howard placed a little gift for any and all Skyrim fans. It is the inventory for the Dawnstar Khajiit caravan. In case you're not familiar with this infinite money glitch, what you do is loot the chest, quick save, hit the vendor, then reload the quick save, then the inventory resets. I decided that 6,000 gold should be enough and made my way over to the college to purchase the 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬 spell. I had enough magicka at this point to summon the Fire Thrall, but not the Frost Thrall, so I head over to Whiterun to enchant some gear for Sven and I, since I had the Fortify Conjuration enchantment. While I was in Dragon's Reach, I purchased a few more spells from Farengar and finally was able to summon the Frost Thrall. It was at this point where I decided to see how far I can abuse the magic system in Skyrim and absolutely and utterly destroy everything in my path. To the north, Todd Howard blessed us with a certain cave filled with Creation Club spells. Among those spells was a lightning destruction spell that could instantly help Chief Maximus max out his destruction skill. On the way to the cave, Chief Maximus came across a dead body. I'm not sure about you, but based off of all the context clues surrounding this corpse, I can only assume that this is the work of that sneaky 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬. Eventually, our hero makes it to the cave and kills off the entire necromancer population in Skyrim. There is only one necromancer in Skyrim, and that was Chief Maximus. Eventually, we make it to the aforementioned Creation Club spells and learn all of them, but the specific spell that we were after was the Unbound Storm spell. If you cast the spell, open up the map while holding down the casting triggers, and fast travel to a faraway location, then you can instantly level up your destruction skill. Just a little side note, you can let go of the cast buttons as soon as the fast travel loading screen appears. This is how you instantly upgrade your destruction skill. I may have gotten a little carried away. Chief Maximus and the gang tested their newfound abilities against a few saber-toothed cats and an entire bandit camp. To say that the spells were absolutely overpowered is a massive understatement. Usually when you perform the destruction skill glitch, it doesn't level all the way up to 100, and then you would have to fast travel one more time to finally be able to make the skill legendary. I found out that if you start the glitch at Fort Dawnguard and then fast travel all the way to Darkfall Cave, then you won't need to do an extra fast travel, since that levels destruction up to 100 instantly. Solitude won't work, I already tried. All of this newfound power was too much for my companions to handle. If one stray shot missed the target and hit, let's say, Sven, then our boy Sven would crumple over dead. The gang and I then took a ship to Solstheim. Why Solstheim, you might ask? Well, since because Sven is a mere mortal, we needed to find something over in Solstheim that would make him less of a mortal, and grant him temporary immortality. There's a certain black book which gives you the perk that protects all of your companions from taking damage from you during combat. The black book we needed was the Black Book Winds of Change, which could be found in the deep depths of the Raven Rock mine. I spoke with a ship captain who agreed to give us passage to Solstheim. A little detail that I noticed that in Morrowind, if you had a companion, then you'd have to pay their fast travel fee as well, unlike in Skyrim where you only have to pay for yourself. As a Morrowind player, this made me a bit upset enough to massacre the entire town of Raven Rock. Just kidding, that comes later. Our hero rushes straight on over to the mine and speaks with this disheveled old man who seemed to be talking nonsense. Past the wooden barrier, I unlock the door and, like a coward, run past all the enemies. I would have fought them, but I was too concerned that my companions will get in the midst of the crossfire and absolutely take the big L. Eventually we arrived at the body of Gratian. I say we, but I just mean I. My companions are probably still fighting the frostbite spiders down the descent of the cave. Taking up the sword, I maniacally swing it around until something happened. And when that something happened, our hero rushed past the swinging axes and made it to the Dragon Priest. As you can see, our hero has a drastically larger magic pool from grinding destruction. I mean, look at this. I can now summon a Flame and Frost Thrall back to back. Our brave hero charges in, taking the lead on this assault. I was able to get a few cheap shots off the Dragon Priest during his animation and seriously damage his health bar. The Dragon Priest then summoned a Seeker from the depths of Apocrypha to protect his sorry self. Well, to be fair, I did the same thing with my Thralls. But I had just a solution for this pesky Seeker. In the Conjuration skill tree, there is a perk where your bound weapons can instantly kill any summoned companions, so sneaking around the Dragon Priest and allowing it to focus its lightning spells on Sven, I was able to dispatch of the Seeker without any issue. Somehow the Dragon Priest didn't focus his attacks on me despite being right next to him. Sven, Barbas and I threw everything that we got at the Dragon Priest. Somehow, through all of this, my Frost Thrall survived. Never mind. Shouldn't have gotten in my way, nerd. I gave Sven the Dragon Priest mask since it looked like he got the killing blow, then head on over to the next room and read the Black Book. Oh, but Dagosh, you forgot the word wall! I wasn't planning on using shots during this playthrough. Inside Apocrypha, I tried using the bound sword to instantly kill the Seekers, but then upon a closer inspection of the perk, I noticed that bound weapons only send Daedra back to Oblivion, and since we're already in a plane of Oblivion, that perk is useless, so I just ran straight through and read the Black Book as quickly as I could. I take the perk that allows my companions to not be susceptible to my damage, and try to return to Solstheim. Unfortunately, I needed to kill this lurker to be able to do so, as the book wouldn't send me back during combat. Once the lurker died, I got sent back to Solstheim and tested out this new perk. It wasn't until later that I realized that the perk only worked during combat. We head on out and clear the Reavers guarding the exit. Outside, we finished the Reavers in the stronghold. Deciding that we were done with Solstheim for now, Chief Maximus initiated a full-scale terrorist attack on Raven Rock. If anyone were to commit an act of terrorism, it would be him. I head on over to Solitude because I've heard that there's a powerful necromancer about. We needed to find and kill them, and nobody's necromancy is as powerful as Chief Maximus. Heading on over to the Blue Palace, we learned that the necromancer is in Wolfskull Cave. Good news and bad news though. The bad news is that this necromancer is 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬, the most powerful necromancer ever. The good news is she's not alive. Yet. Deep in the depths of Wolfskull Cave, a few loyal followers of 𝓜𝓼𝓰 are trying to summon her and use her to take over Tamriel. I needed to stop this ritual. We head inside and clear out the Draugr and necromancers. It was at this point where I realized that I had a rune of paralysis and used it to my full advantage. This necromancer had some powerful gear. I mean, look at this. This was insane. We head to where the ritual was being held and obliterate the necromancers at the top. Unfortunately for us, the ritual worked and 𝓜𝓼𝓰 had escaped. After leaving the cave, I got the sweet shot of our hero and traveled to Riften to steal a horse. To the west of Riften lies a skooma hideout called Redwater Den. Inside, there lies the spell of telekinesis. The telekinesis spell is perfect for getting your alteration skill to level 100 quickly. We enter the den and the doorman tells me to behave myself. I couldn't help it. Past all the skooma addicts and down into the den, I killed a few vampires and picked up the spell. I'm not sure why, but I never used it to grind alteration. With that whole ordeal taken care of, I head back to Solitude and let Falk Firebird know that 𝓜𝓼𝓰 had escaped. Then the Jarl tasked me to place a recently deceased husband's war horn at the Shrine of Talos, which I happily obliged. Once the horn was placed at the shrine, I wasn't able to progress the 𝓜𝓼𝓰 quest. I returned and the Jarl had no new dialogue for me, neither did Falk Firebird. I figured that maybe I needed to wait a few days and started doing a few side quests. I noticed that in my quest list there was a warrior who wanted to challenge me to a fight. I'd never seen this quest before, so I assumed it was some Creation Club content. Chief Maximus wasn't one to back down from a fight, so I set my sights on finding this warrior while I waited for the 𝓜𝓼𝓰 quest. On the way to meet up with a warrior, in typical Skyrim fashion, the game crashed. Second time to charm, and on the way I met a fisherman. Our hero then stumbles across the Moss Mother Cavern where a terrified hunter asks for my help to kill 3 Spriggans that killed his friends during their hunting expedition. I agreed to help since I needed to make up for that funny prank I pulled on the fisherman. One after the other, the Spriggans all fell to the might of Chief Maximus. The hunter thanked us and gave me his lucky dagger as a token of his appreciation. Eventually, I met up with a warrior who wanted to challenge my fighting prowess. Our battle was going to be legendary. I could feel it in the air. The ever so foggy air. Our opponent drew her sword. Our hero readies his magic, and the fight begins. Oh. That was underwhelming. At least I got a cool new house out of that. Anyways, back to the 𝓜𝓼𝓰 quest. Unfortunately, the quest still didn't work. I tried waiting, reloading saves, but nothing seemed to work. Then I googled it, and some random guy on a random forum from a couple of years ago said that in order to start the next part of the quest, the player needed to level up. I performed the distraction glitch one more time so I could level up, and then a courier found me and gave me a letter from Falk Firebird requesting my help. Our hero then converses with the leader of the Solitude Hall of the Dead to gather more information on 𝓜𝓼𝓰. She tells me that she most likely will be inside her catacombs in the Temple of the Divines. Inside the catacombs, 𝓜𝓼𝓰 taunts our hero and then sends Draugrs and vampires at our hero. They were dispatched in no time. I tried giving the Bloodskull Blade to Sven to use as a weapon against the Draugr and vampires, but for some reason it said that it was still a quest item. More Draugrs and vampires were down at our feet, and after toying with a few levers, we killed the enemies guarding the door to 𝓜𝓼𝓰's lair, and immediately come face to face with a roadblock. A master lock. I wasted so many lockpicks trying to get this open. Eventually I decided to check the corpses and see if any of them had a key. Lo and behold, we were able to loot a key from this vampire, and now we were able to enter 𝓜𝓼𝓰's sanctum. Past the entrance were vampires, skeletons, and Draugrs, but each and every one of them couldn't handle the sheer power of Chief Maximus. Dead Draugr, a talking wall, and the Draugr Deathlord was all that was standing in between the 2 greatest necromancers in Tamriel. but 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬 was dead. My title as the greatest necromancer in the entire world was secured. Nobody could handle even 10% of the power of Chief Maximus. I wanted to figure out why the Bloodskull Blade was still considered a quest item, so our hero journeys back to 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬, the town where he so brutally murdered countless civilians and guards, to find out why the blade was still a quest item. It was an easy fix. I just never returned to tell 𝓜𝓪𝓰 the truth for why his grandfather died. Speaking of 𝓜𝓰 solves the problem, and I was able to give Sven the Bloodskull Blade with no issues at all. I decided that since I was in Solitude, I might as well take advantage of a few quests that were scattered around the area, so I went to the closest cave, Ashfall's Tier, to find something to do. Great. Really helpful, thanks. Still determined to find something to do, we head on over to the temple in search of Creation Club content, and lo and behold, we started the Ghost of the Tribunal quest. The dossier tells us that we need to head over to a Dwemer ruin called
𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬
to start the quest, and on the way there, two frost trolls met a hilarious end. Our hero also notices an unmarked ship and tries to get into it. Alas, I was unable to. The few Reeklings guarding the entrance of the Dwemer ruin were quickly dispatched of, as well as the dwarven critters inside. This is where I learned that Dwemer machines are immune to paralysis. The puzzle is as easy as ever, and in the next room over, this poor fellow named 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬 had to face off against a Daedric dog, a Sven, two Atronachs, and Chief Maximus. You can guess how well that went for him. Reading the note on his corpse tells us about a secret tribunal cult. I hand Sven 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬's gear, and then we head on over to 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬's cult lair. This cult was a Branch Davidians, and the 5 of us were the ATF. They did nothing wrong, we just wanted to kill them. After some more easy Skyrim puzzles, we rushed the cult, paralyzed them, and while they were laying motionless and helpless on the ground, we attacked and killed them. An accurate recreation of the Waco siege if I've ever seen one, just with less fire. The siege, not our attack. We slaughtered everybody. There is nobody left alive to tell the tale of our rampage. The last cultist we killed was David Koresh. Sorry, I mean this priest. He had some communist propaganda on him, and if my time spent in Fallout 3 has taught me anything, then it has taught me.
Communist detected on American soil. Lethal force engaged.
I took the propaganda, delivered it to the temple priest, and head back to Skyrim. I made my way to Whiterun in order to find the Ebony Warrior. I needed to see if there truly was anybody who could withstand the sheer power and magic of Chief Maximus, and if there ever was anybody who could do that, then it would be the Ebony Warrior. I waited and waited and waited until a wild 𝓜𝓪𝓰𝓲𝓬 appeared. I couldn't take it anymore. I've been waiting around for too long, which was already agitating in and of itself, but 𝓜𝓰𝓲𝓬's annoying voice and perfectly shaped head was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, what could I say? I got a little silly. I read on some forum again about why the Ebony Warrior wasn't spawning in. Then I found out that the Ebony Warrior is part of the Dragonborn DLC. I took this information and realized that Mirax cultists don't appear until after you've spoken with the Greybeards after they summoned you once you killed the dragon that destroyed the Western Watchtower. I used this logic and applied it to why I thought the Ebony Warrior wasn't spawning in. I concluded that he wasn't spawning in because he would only spawn in when the cultists spawned. So off to Bleak Falls Barrow I went to retrieve the Dragonstone. You already know this dungeon better than the back of your hand, so to make it interesting, I will leave a kill counter on the top right of the screen. With the Dragonstone in my gun holster, I took it to Farengar, blah blah blah, main quest, Dragon High, Dragon Die, Greybeards. Sure enough, the cultists spawned in, and in case you're wondering, they're dead. The Ebony Warrior still wasn't spawning in, so I traveled all the way to the last vigil to see if maybe he was there. He wasn't. It wasn't until 5 minutes later, though, that I realized I traveled to the wrong spot. Frustrated, I was ready to take out my anger on one of the biggest cities in Skyrim, and lo and behold, there he was, in the flesh.
I have done all that can be done. There is nothing left. No quests to be undertaken, no villains to be slain, no challenges to face. Except for you. You are my last challenge. Only you can send me to Sovngarde with honor. Make your preparations. When you're ready, come find me at my last vigil.
The Ebony Warrior challenged me to meet him at his last vigil, and I happily obliged. Atop the last vigil, the Ebony Warrior had the slain corpse of a frost troll at his feet. I knew that this was going to be one of the greatest fights of all time. Thanks so much for watching until the end. Please like and comment to boost this video's performance in the algorithm, and consider subscribing if you enjoyed. Thanks for your time, and have a good day.